From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network and Troy campuses around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Weekly.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Weekly. We're glad you joined us for this look at what's happening in and around Troy University. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Well, this week I'm sporting my Trojan Cardinal in celebration of the start of the Trojan football season and in honor of College Colors Day, a statewide celebration where Governor Robert Bentley has asked that all Alabamians sport their favorite team colors the Friday before the start of college football. Kyle Shook gives us a look at the Trojan contribution to the celebration.
College Colors Day is a tradition that encourages students to wear their school's colors to enhance school pride and kick off intercollegiate athletics. Troy Student Government Association is encouraging all Troy Trojans to participate. SGA President Olivia Melton tells how to get involved.
What we want to do is to show all of our school prides throughout the universities in Alabama. And so what we're asking students to do is this Friday to wear your Trojan t-shirts or Trojan colors to show your school pride. And there'll be a photo booth on the quad from 10 to 2 that the admission has. So they'll be able to take pictures and to really show off why they love their school.
College Colors Day will also help students get more pumped for the upcoming football season. Sophomore Lauren House tells why College Colors Day gets her in the mood for Saturday's game.
Seeing everybody in their school colors just gets us all really excited for the game and helps us all come together and be unified so we can cheer on the Trojans on Saturday.
Melton is also excited for Saturday's game and is looking forward to the support the football team will receive as a result of Friday's events.
This is a great timing because we have our College Colors Day on Friday leading up to our big first home game on Saturday against Austin Peay. And so we're really pumped. And so I think it'll be really nice to have the football players and all the athletes see that we're behind them because we're Trojans one and all.
Kyle Shook, Troy, TrojanVision News.
For the next few weeks, the stretch of McKinley Drive that runs in front of the Chancellor's House from University to Madison Street will be closed during normal business hours due to construction. This construction is part of an ongoing project that will turn the amphitheater located behind New Hall into a one-of-a-kind display of artwork. Ryan Renfro explains.
Crews are cutting into the landscape of the Janice Hawkins Park Amphitheater, digging massive holes that are a part of the next phase of construction of a new cultural arts complex that will house a one-of-a-kind display.
The second phase, which used to be filled with kudzu and is now a beautiful amphitheater, a lake, and soon to be home of 205 Terracotta Warriors straight from Xi'an, China.
And the warriors that will be a part of that display were delivered over the summer. The holes in the hill of the amphitheater will house the statues in a way similar to the way the original Terracotta Warriors in China were discovered and are on display today.
The park itself will include more than 200 Terracotta Warriors coming from Xi'an. To my knowledge, it'll be the only display of that size outside of China. You know, and most people have to travel 10, 12,000 miles to see it, but it'll be here within just a short distance of most people in Alabama. And so we think that'll be a great contribution to the cultural dimension of Troy University. It'll be a great attraction.
Hawkins feels the Warrior display will make Troy a place that people will want to visit.
And so in the entirety, we will have just a great new addition to this campus, this community, and this state. We think it'll be one that will attract people far and wide to Troy University.
Ryan Renfro, Troy, TrojanVision News.
This Wednesday, Troy University students will cast their votes in the SGA Senate vacancy election. But when they do so, it'll be different from recent SGA elections because they'll be able to vote exclusively online. Samantha Charles takes a look at the new voting process and how it's expected to increase voter turnout.
Put those ballots away and get out your phones because Troy University Student Government Association has passed a resolution to change the way voting in on-campus elections is done.
This year what we're doing is we're doing an online voting system. And the reason that we're wanting to do this is to allow more students to feel involved, to get their voice heard on the campus. We have students who are studying abroad, who work, who have class, a lot of different reasons why they couldn't be physically in the office to vote. And so we wanted to make sure that students feel involved and represented well.
Troy's SGA implemented online voting once before. However, they have high hopes for the new system.
In the past, we have had an instance where we tried to switch to online voting. It was several years ago, and it didn't go so well. A group on campus basically found a way to go around the system, or were alleged to found a way to go around the system, who were able to put their candidates up for homecoming court. And so we have done a lot of research, and we looked at what was done in the past. We look at what other universities like Alabama and Auburn are doing now, and we have found a way that we think that we can definitely avoid that situation.
So how does online voting work?
On the day of the elections, an email will be sent out. Each person will get an individualized link in their email. Students will have to log into their email, click that link, and vote from there. It's almost like a survey system. So they vote who they want to be and then submitted. In an election, the most important role of the SGA is to make sure that everyone feels that it's fair, candidates and students.
The new voting system will not only be used for the upcoming homecoming election, but also for all on-campus elections. Samantha Charles, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
From time to time, professors will invite a guest speaker to come to the classroom and speak on a topic the class is studying. Well, students in a new class that merges journalism and social media use digital technology to hear from a journalism professor over 100 miles away from campus. Sarah Singletary tells us how.
The compound raid for Osama bin Laden, Whitney Houston's death, the plane crash in the Hudson River.
All of these events have one thing in common. They were all announced to the public for the first time via social media. Mobile journalism is becoming increasingly popular, and this semester marks the launch of Troy University's Hall School of Journalism and Communications mobile journalism class.
It's really important for journalists to take advantage of that and to look for trends, and there are all kinds of cool things like geolocation that they can use to find sources now. So it's really important for them to get on board and to know how to use this technology, because it's going to make them invaluable to the companies that they potentially work for.
And how is Taylor teaching her students to embrace digital media? By using the same technology reporters use in the field to introduce students to news photographer Nick Tomachek.
And while working with Tomachek at the Northwest Florida Daily News, Taylor saw Tomachek embrace every layer of journalism, something she says has become a basic requirement for today's journalists.
That's what journalists now have to do, is not just focus on one thing. They have to be good at everything and think about things from like a multi-level platform or a nonlinear platform. You've got to have photos and video and a good story and a different kind of story and some background and maps and all of these things.
An advanced section of the mobile journalism class will be offered in the spring. Sarah Singletary, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
And yet another class in the Hall School of Journalism is offering students the chance to go to the capital city to expand their reporting skills. Jordan Elston has the details from our Montgomery News Bureau.
Troy University journalism students gathered on Troy's Montgomery campus Wednesday morning for a class that is aimed at giving them more reporting opportunities.
So we're taking a tour of the Montgomery News Bureau, which is a part of the advanced practicum class for journalism. But what it does is it gives the students in the class a chance to expand their horizons. It also provides some Montgomery-based content for Troy TrojanVision News.
While this is a class and the students will be graded for their work, what some students say that they are most looking forward to cannot be found in a grade book.
I think it'd be really cool to cover stories in the Montgomery area. I've done some stories in Troy, and I think to be able to cover these stories in Montgomery to kind of expand my experience in journalism is going to be a good experience.
I'm really looking forward to this class because I actually get to do some of the same stories that professional news reporters do, and it's really going to help me after I graduate to put on my resume reel and just have these breaking news stories, just these great stories compared to everyone else.
Most of the equipment and technology that the students are going to be using they are already familiar with. However, getting the stories from Montgomery to Troy is a new part of the process.
They're able to shoot and edit stories here on the Montgomery campus, but then they can use some file transfer technology to send us the stories in Troy. So a student could be a reporter up here and do all of the work up here and then be able to send the story to us via the internet.
The class requires each student to submit 5 Montgomery-based news stories. In Montgomery, Jordan Elston, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
And the stories reported on by the advanced practicum class will be featured right here on Troy Trojan Vision. And we'll take a short break, but when we return, we'll see how some Trojans took to the water for some friendly competition. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
This is Dr. Daniel Smith. He's an expert in domestic and international economics. But his proudest achievement is connecting with his students and helping them accomplish more than they ever thought possible. That's the warrior spirit, and it's alive and well at Troy University. Feel it at troy.edu/spirit.
Through the years, trends and styles may come and go, but the important things remain the same. Generation after generation, consistently there, creating moments and memories to last a lifetime. Like a true friend, the national parks have always been there for you, and now you can be there for them. Support the National Park Foundation and help protect America's treasured places.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
Last Saturday, the city of Montgomery held its 7th annual Dragon Boat Race on the Alabama River. And this year, there were some Trojans riding those dragons. Samantha Charles explains.
The Dragons took to the Alabama River on Saturday for the 7th annual Montgomery Dragon Boat Race and Festival, which serves as a fundraiser for 2 River Region nonprofit organizations.
This is a local charity event that the city of Montgomery puts on to sponsor 2 local charities. And since Troy University is considered the Alabama's international university, we thought it was time for us to get in the game.
You know, Troy University is the international university, and so we have a huge Chinese student population, and we wanted to come out and show our support for them. And also it's a great way to just bond with other students from other campuses and other faculty members.
Despite the heat, over 60 teams and 1,000 spectators gathered for the 7th annual Dragon Boat Race. But for Troy, it was their first. Then I spoke to one of the participants who said age and athletic ability are not a factor in the team's success, which got me thinking, maybe this is the sport for me.
Dragon boat racing is a traditional Chinese boat race. It involves 20 people in the boat, plus a drummer and a helmsman. You compete against other teams in your division on time. Even though 2 boats race together, you're really racing against the clock, not the other boat.
We have a really good team this year, and when we came out for practice, we were all just so focused on teamwork as opposed to winning, and I think that's awesome.
Troy University's team, better known as the Troy Trojan Warriors, plan on hitting the water again next year and have high hopes of slaying the competition, not the dragon.
The first year is always the toughest to get started, but we've had a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm from people, and we hope to do it again next year.
Everybody's enjoyed it so far with the practices, and since we had great coverage from the media, I think we'll definitely garner more support next year and keep it going as a tradition.
And Troy students had the opportunity to win at a game of chance during the University Activities Council Bingo Night Wednesday. Over 100 students showed up at the event, which was a bit of a surprise to the UAC. Nathaniel Rodriguez has the story.
The Troy University Activities Council held a bingo night in the Trojan Center ballrooms Wednesday night to give students a chance to win some prizes. Prizes included gift cards, Troy apparel, and even laundry detergent, among other small items given to the UAC through donations.
How we go about getting prizes, we ask people to donate, or we'll provide the prizes just by asking, Barnes & Noble to help us out, or, just, asking people if we could just have gifts to hand out to the students. The international program also pairs with us, so they also bring some prizes from their country or something that they feel that they're, worth sharing for the night.
The amount of students who came to the bingo night exceeded the UAC's expectations, forcing them to use paper copies of the bingo game to meet demand.
I'm very happy with the turnout. This is my first year on the executive board, so and this is also my first bingo night, and so I didn't know what to expect, so I didn't know a lot of students were going to come out to this event, but the turnout really surprised me, and I think it's a great turnout. It's a great event. We're going to have it in the future because it's a great opportunity for kids to just come out, have fun, win stuff, so it was a great event.
Students who won their rounds of bingo were excited about winning their prizes.
Oh man, it feels great. It feels great. I was overjoyed. I jumped up and I was like, let's go. Started doing the whole LeBron thing. It was great.
It feels good. Last year I was inching for a prize. I didn't win anything. This year I'm very happy. I won this car. Like I said, I can take someone on a date. So it's amazing.
According to Stigarl, the UAC is planning to have more bingo nights, but is unsure of the date of the next one. Nathaniel Rodriguez, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
It's the beginning of a new school year, and for a lot of students, it's their first time on campus, and they may not have had the chance to meet new people. Trojan Outreach helps students with an activity that traditionally leads to dates, but this time the goal was simply making new friends. Joshua Lee explains.
On Tuesday, students had a chance to attend Trojan Outreach's speed friending event. It's a lot like speed dating, a lot less serious.
Speed friending, it comes from the basis of speed dating, but it's more of a platonic, get to know you, form friendships kind of thing. We didn't want it to make pressure anybody to find anything romantic, I guess, but just to make friends.
We got a lot of requests last year for a speed dating event, but we wanted to do something that was all-inclusive so that everybody could feel like they could come, and so we decided to make a speed friending event. So, you know, if you wanted to meet somebody like to date, or if you just wanted to meet friends, then you could come here and do that.
Trojan Outreach was able to give students who may not be in groups or organizations a unique way to meet each other.
This is a good way for students to meet each other because a lot of times, aside from maybe just organizations you get involved in or dorms, you really don't have the opportunity to branch out and get to know people outside of your social norm. So it's a good way for freshmen or upperclassmen just to really get involved and to get to meet new people.
Well, we feel like it's really important because the students don't necessarily have specific events for them to meet other people. Unless you're in a fraternity or sorority where they have swaps and meetups and everything, there's not anything for the students that aren't a part of those Greek organizations.
Students had the opportunity to make friends at Trojan Outreach's speed friending event. And I'd say it was a pretty successful event, seeing as though it's over and people are still hanging out and talking. Joshua Lee, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
The Pike County Rodeo was last weekend, but some local celebrities started the festivities a little early. The amateurs displayed their talents in a classic rodeo event, but as Ryan Renfro shows us, many were not quite ready for the pro circuit.
The Pike County Cattlemen's Association will saddle up for its 24th annual rodeo this weekend. But first, before all the action can begin, Pike County residents and familiar Trojan faces tested their rodeo skills this afternoon at a nearby cattle pen, also known as Santa Fe.
This event was a kickoff event to get awareness of the rodeo going on with these celebrities riding today.
And among these celebrities being thrown off the bull is a Trojan who is no stranger to the baseball field. But as for bull riding, this was his first rodeo.
First time for me, and a little harder than it looks, I promise you, but I was really happy to be involved in this. I thank them for asking me, and really had a great time, and a lot of our kids right here. It was a good fun day.
Say hello to this little guy. Now, this is a horse. This is not a bull. I know you guys know that, but what you may not know is that Pike County is home to one of the largest cattle industries in the state of Alabama, and all the proceeds from today's rodeo here at Santa Fe go directly to the junior cattlemen of this weekend's rodeo.
It thrills your heart whenever you can see those kids grow up. The kids involved in showing steers and things of that nature, it does your heart good when they have a good facility that they can do all of that.
And as for the kids, they won't have to wait long for their chance to get out into the arena. On Saturday, sheep rides, wagon rides, and stick horse races will be available.
Last year we had 300 or 400 kids. This year, I think we're just going to blow it out with children out there enjoying that.
Saturday will feature the Western Festival beginning at 5 o'clock. A festival focusing on the kids. Ryan Renfro, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, there's some offerings from our friends at Troy Public Radio, so don't touch that dial.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
I was afraid of that.
Guess it's time to get you fixed.
Your pets will start fooling around sooner than you think.
Go on, get out of here!
Accidental litters lead to millions killed in shelters each year. Help prevent more. Fix at month 4.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
Each week we take some time to hear some of the work done by our broadcast partners at Troy Public Radio. As we do each week, we'll get another sample of Talk of Troy, the student-produced newscast of Troy Public Radio. Now let's take a listen.
It's the Talk of Troy. Voices and sounds from the campuses of Troy University. I'm Sharnique McEachern. When veterans return from combat, they can face difficulties when they come home and can suffer from PTSD. A new reading initiative is now being offered by Troy to help these veterans, and producer Nishay DeRamus has the story.
Harold Kaler, a professor of English and a Vietnam veteran, will be the instructor of the reading initiative that will look to help veterans to reintegrate themselves back into society using books that relate to their experience.
We're creating an environment in which they should feel that they will be heard and understood.
Can this initiative spark emotional moments in the discussions?
Probably. Of course, it's going to be emotional.
The reading initiative will be held on Thursdays in Bartlett Hall. For more information, visit troy.edu/news. For the Talk of Troy, I'm Nishay DeRamus.
The Surveying and Geomatic Sciences program has been recognized with a national award for $10,000. When program director Steve Ramroop heard the news, he had this reaction.
Wow, we had 38 schools, programs that applied for the award, and we were one of the 10 awarded.
Troy's program was chosen because it best represented the National Council of Examiners for Engineering and Surveying's mission to promote the well-being of the public. And Ramroop has already made plans for the cash award.
We are going to use that primarily for recruiting and anything that's going to be related to recruiting.
For more information about the award and the Surveying and Geomatic Sciences program, visit troy.edu/news. I'm Sharnique McEachern, and you've been listening to The Talk of Troy, a production of Troy Public Radio.
Throughout the week, Troy Public Radio can be heard on 89.9 in Troy and Montgomery, 88.7 in Dothan, and 91.7 in Phoenix City. Well, it's time for our last break, but when we return, we'll learn about the cross-country team's 2016 season. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Here we are. We all depend on technology to communicate, to bank, and none of us know how to read and write code.
The first program I wrote asked things like, what's your favorite color? Or how old are you?
I wrote a program to play tic-tac-toe.
I first learned how to make a green circle and a red square appear on the screen.
You're just trying to make something, trying to transfer something from your mind to the computer or to a tablet. It's an experience.
The whole limit in the system is just that there just aren't enough people who are trained and have these skills today.
The programmers of tomorrow are the wizards of the future. You know, you're going to look like you have magic powers compared to everybody else.
Great coders are today's rock stars. That's it.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
The Trojan cross country season opens up this weekend, and in this week's Trojan Talk, we learn about the season from head coach Elliott Blount. Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Today we will be talking about the cross country season, and with me is Elliott Blount, the head coach of the cross country team. Elliott, thanks for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me.
And cross country, getting things started once again. There's some local competitions that we'll talk about in a little bit, but just real quick, how you feel going into this preseason? Got things starting off here pretty quick for you guys. So.
Yeah, I feel pretty good this year. You know, last 2 years I knew it would be a lot of work, you know, just kind of changing the culture, getting the right pieces in. But now I think we have everything in place. A little young on the men's side last year. They're a year older. We didn't lose anybody. which was good. And on the women's side, you know, we have 6 seniors that are going to toe the line for us this year. So they're a little bit long in the tooth, but, you know, I think with their experience will come, you know, a pretty good season.
And obviously, as someone who's relatively new to Troy as you are, there's those growing pains that you've had to deal with. And you mentioned that there, getting the new system in. So are you starting to see that maybe your system is coming into play and you're going to see a little bit more success out of it this season?
Yeah, that's the plan, obviously, you know, to improve upon last year's successes. And, you know, we did have some successes. And, you know, I think the biggest change we're going to see is just the mindset. You know, we weren't consistent, you know, enough or as we needed to be to really, you know, match up with some of the conference talent. But this year, I think we made a concerted effort over the summer. They had a summer reading project in which we read The Art of War by Sun Tzu, and to get everybody like-minded. And I think that really galvanized the group and to do some good things this year.
To really attack.
Exactly.
You know,
the warrior spirit.
The warrior spirit. Hey,
Indeed.
well, there you go. So, and let's talk a little about your first meet. You're hitting the road, not too far up the road for your first run this weekend. Talking about that.
So Jacksonville State's hosting the Strut season opener. We went there last year, had a pretty good showing. It's a 5K and a 4K for the men and women respectively. It's a good way to kind of get their feet wet. We do have some freshmen that will be competing this year, so it's nice to kind of get them acclimated a little bit, you know, slower with a distance that they're a little bit more comfortable with. We're just looking for some good competition and, you know, some competitive times early on in the season.
And of course, you're hitting the road, but there's a lot of opportunities for some home running,
right,
which you haven't really had a chance to do. You're going to have how many times you're going to host some runs?
We're going to host 2 regular season meets, and then we're going to host a conference meet, the Sun Belt Conference Championships there. So down at our Dothan campus, which would be pretty exciting. I think that kind of added to the energy of the group, knowing that we had to kind of defend our home turf, and, you know, with you know, the reading that we did and just the day-to-day little things that we're paying attention to. I think a little bit more carefully this year is going to have a huge impact on our performances.
And of course, and the fact that that your team actually gets a chance to run on the home course, which is something that you haven't had an opportunity to have yet.
It's home field advantage. You know, it's home field advantage. We went down there last Saturday, had a great workout down there. It was kind of, you know, it was our first real effort of the season, which we ran the whole course, and I think it went really well. Got the team really excited. We went and barbecued at Director Davis's house afterwards. So we're really trying to make that, you know, a team atmosphere and a family atmosphere, and hopefully that will show up, you know, on the course.
And talk about the course at Dothan, and because obviously, and for the folks at Dothan, they get a chance to see a team there in their backyard. But talk about the course and how it's kind of laid out, and what you're expecting out of there. So
me and Coach Davis, me and Mark, we were down there all summer, you know, back and forth probably twice a week, you know, just trying to make sure the specifications were up to snuff as far as the NCAA and the Sun Belt wanted. It's a relatively flat course. It's going to be great for viewers. So if you want to come out, we only have like a mile in the backwoods. The other 3 and 4 mile race, you know, parts of the race will be, you know, excellent for viewing. And I think it's going to be, you know, it's a fair course, but we're going to have a little bit of advantage having been down there a few more times than competitors.
Than the other folks out there.
Absolutely.
And of course, and at the Dothan campus, it's got some big sprawling, you know, fields and stuff out there that if anyone's never seen it before, they might even not know it's kind of nestled back in there.
Absolutely. So if you're driving down 231 and, you know, just before you hit Ross Circle, Ross Clark Circle, excuse me, you'll see that the big expanses of land is where we start and finish the races.
Yes.
It should be a nice little curb appeal for Troy. Get some traffic onto the Troy Dothan campus. And then we have this excellent backwoods trail. It's covered in trees, so if it does get a little bit warm, you know, like that'll be a part of the race where we can kind of cool down and, you know.
And once again, that home field advantage, get out there. And when's the first time folks can see y'all race down in
September
Dothan?
24th, Saturday, September 24th. It's going to be the Trojan Cross Country Invitational.
Okay.
And then about 3 weeks after that, we're going to go down. Sorry, 2 weeks after that, we're going to go back down there for the 15th for the Doc Anderson Wiregrass Invitational.
Oh, so honoring Doc Anderson for a race, obviously.
Absolutely.
The guy who's meant so much to the program, and get a chance to have a race in his honor down there. Then the last time, you guys are hosting the Sun Belt Tournament, so it's going to be pretty exciting time for the Trojan cross country team this season. So
I look forward to it.
Well, we look forward to seeing some success this year from you guys.
Thank
and
you.
As always, thanks for joining us. So
appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Aaron.
And thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk. And that's what happened on the last week of August 2016. To find out what's happening throughout the week, you can tune into Troy TrojanVision News at 5, 6:30, and 10:30 Monday through Friday, or anytime by following us on Twitter at Troy TV News. Also, feel free to like our Troy TrojanVision News fan page on Facebook. See links to online content from Troy TrojanVision News. We hope to see you again next week for another edition of Troy TrojanVision Weekly. Have a good week.